What's happening, guys? My name is KJ and this is Level 1 Reviews, where I give reviews, thoughts, breakdowns on games that I have played or have been playing. So today is going to be a breakdown video, and I'm going to be breaking down my high damage unlimited ammo Trickster build. But it's going to also be a little bit more than that. I wanted to go ahead and make this video somewhat informative for people who are getting into the game or people who are having troubles kind of putting together just a build in general, whether you be a Trickster, Pyromancer, Techno, doesn't matter. So not only do I want to go over the build that I formulated, but I also want to equip you with the information you can use to put together your own build and clap alien monster cheeks regardless of whether or not you have the same equipment I do. This video will be broken down into two parts. Basically, it will consist of the first part being the actual build breakdown for those, of you who are pretty experienced already and are just looking for inspiration for their next build. The second part will be for those who are newer to the game. It'll have more of the detailed breakdown. So my build has two main focuses: high damage and unlimited twisted rounds. Twisted rounds is the skill where you get bonus firepower. I don't like ever having this turned off. If my gun isn't glowing blue at all times, that means I'm not sending people to meet the Lord fast enough. And I don't like that. I'm a man of God and he needs people to be sent to him on a regular basis. So I formulated my build in a way to kind of meet that need. So let's break down the armor. For my headgear, I have Tanner's hat, this goofy cowboy hat, but it does give good bonus damage, close range damage, cooldown reduction. It also comes with stare into the barrel, which gives me a sexy 10,000 plus firepower bonus for each enemy in close range. Stacks up to 5 times, so for every 5 enemies that are in close range, you get that extra boost in damage per enemy. Tanner's hat also comes with buckshot shells. It's a mod that gives you an additional 10% shotgun weapon damage. Now here's the thing, as a Trickster, shotguns are your best friends, at least for this build, especially rapid fire shotguns. I personally would not even look at pump action shotguns because they're slow and they don't do that much damage. For my chest piece, I am working with the Ugake Bukakes. It gives me bonus firepower, bonus close range damage. The healing received isn't really important. The reason why I like this chest piece is because it came already equipped with Dance of Death, where it gives me 20% extra cooldown reduction for my Hunt the Prey. That's that move that lets you teleport behind enemies, and let me tell you, the teleportation range is ridiculous. I switched out the top mod for instant reload, where every time I use Hunt the Prey, it reloads the clip automatically. That right there is your first step to getting unlimited twisted rounds. Moving on to the pantalones, I'm using the lower chrono suit pants, giving me bonus firepower, close range damage, and healing received, which healing received isn't very important. The main thing is that it does give me ammo bargain, so every time I kill an enemy while the twisted round skill is active, I get 20% of ammo replenished. So that right there helps a little bit as well for the unlimited ammo, unlimited twisted rounds. And I put Kingslayer on here. The Kingslayer gives me 32,000 additional firepower boosts once I get critical hits on elites. And anything we can do to get a little bit extra damage on an elite, we do it. We hate elites here. And the thing is, you would think that, okay, maybe you might not hit crit shots that often, but honestly, using shotguns, especially rapid fire shotguns, you'd be surprised at how many crit shots you actually end up getting. So that gives you that extra 32,000 bonus every time you hit a crit. Now moving on to the squeezers, I'm using the Chronosuit gloves, which give me max health, close range damage, and cooldown reduction. For the mods, I have Life Drain. Basically what that does is every time I kill an enemy while my Twisted Rounds is activated, I get 15% of that enemy's health returned to me. I also placed Sharp Eye on here, which gives me an attractive 16,000 plus firepower bonus for each enemy I've killed while aiming down the sights. That stacks up to 3 times and that lasts for 20 seconds. Finally, for the footsies, we're using Chronosuit Footgear. This gives max health, close range damage, cooldown reduction. I've added Damage Absorber on here, which gives an additional 52,000 plus armor plus a 10% resistance bonus. That right there is really important because it keeps you from being so damn squishy. The last mod on here is Diffuse, which gives you an additional 42,000 plus armor bonus and an additional resistance bonus of 50% for sprinting. So every time you sprint, you're gaining that bonus. Now we're gonna go ahead and get into the weaponry. I always run with the Anemoy. It gives me armor piercing, close range weapon damage, healing received. The main benefit of this weapon is that it comes with Moaning Winds, and what Moaning Winds does is every time you reload, you deal 380,000 plus damage in an 8-meter radius. I also placed Fortress on here to give myself a 43% damage boost based on my armor. So with Fortress, you see why it would make sense to have a little bit of a higher armor rating. I believe that once you have 52,000 or higher armor, you will get that full 43% damage bonus. The next weapon I'm currently running with on this build is the Death Shield. Death Shield comes with Weapon Life Leech, healing received, and close range damage. This is the gun that Fortress actually comes equipped on. So Fortress automatically comes equipped on the Death Shield. I've personally added Killing Spree on here as well because it gives me a hot stanky 25% weapon damage bonus for each enemy I've killed, stacking up to 3 times. So you know the damage stack is ridiculous. I'm not really going to go into the handguns because they don't really make a difference for this build. But to put things into perspective, as you can see how this build stacks damage, you have Killing Spree giving you 25% damage stack for up to 3 enemies. So that's 75% weapon damage bonus. You have 43% damage bonus based on your armor, right? So that's another bonus right there. Now you have Buckshot giving 10% more shotgun damage, Kingslayer stacking more damage, Sharpeye stacking more damage. So you can see the purpose of these mods is to stack damage upon damage upon damage, and here we love to stack damage upon damage upon damage. Now for the other most important aspect of this build, which is the unlimited twisted rounds, effectively unlimited ammo. As you can see, I have the instant reload mod where every time I use Hunt the Prey to teleport behind someone, it automatically resets my ammo. I also have the set bonus that comes from wearing 3 pieces of the Chrono Suit gear. So I have the Chrono Suit set bonus, which allows me to reset my clip every time I revert time. This brings me into the skills. So what does it mean by when it says revert time? The skill Borrowed Time, when activated, puts down some kind of little blue spire, and you can run off, do what you do, send people to meet the Lord, and then you can slingshot back to that original spot. That's considered reverting time, and every time I do that, that replenishes my clip with the set bonus. As you can see, having all the cooldown reduction and everything, I have 4.8 seconds cooldown on the Hunt the Prey and 7.5 seconds cooldown on the Borrowed Time. So I get to reload my clip a lot. Now the game does try to cheat you when you try to do the reload. It just has you stuck doing the reload animation. But what you can do if you find yourself stuck in that reload animation is fire off a melee attack. That usually stunts that reload animation, and you can try and teleport again, and that usually fixes it for me. Every now and again it basically glitches out on me and forces me to fully reload, but it's very rare. The next thing, of course, is the twisted rounds. Obviously that's the whole point of this build, is to get the twisted rounds for that ridiculous weapon damage bonus. The next thing I wanted to go over is the class points. From my experimentation, and by experimentation I mean playing it a bunch and dying, I kind of came to the conclusion that this works the best for me and what I need. So it's very close to a lot of the other builds that you'll see, but there's few little tweaks here and there. So the first thing is, of course, the close range weapon damage. You have to armor piercing. You also get the other increase in weapon damage, another increase in close range weapon damage. Shotgun Master is an absolute must. Gives you that boost in shotgun weapon damage. Remember, shotguns are your best friends for tricksters. Now this right here is great because you get that cooldown reduction of 15% for both your movement skills. So Hunt the Prey and Borrowed Time helps you reload your ammo constantly. Increase in critical damage, definitely do that because shotguns do get a lot of crit damage. Increase in your close range weapon damage. So this right here gives you an additional damage boost when you activate your movement skills. Again, movement skills are the Borrowed Time and Hunt the Prey. This here gives you armor piercing. This one here gives you an additional weapon damage once you're behind the enemy. I also added close range weapon damage and regular weapon damage. Again, another weapon damage increase. This right here gives me that additional cooldown reduction for the movement skills, hunt the prey, borrowed time. So as you can see, I'm just reducing it as much as I can just to keep the ball rolling, just keep getting that weapon reload. This right here gives me the additional damage for when I'm behind an enemy, so some more. Again, we hate elites here, so anything we can do to increase our damage against elites, we do it. So Bounty Hunter gives us 50% bonus against elites. We're going to go ahead and also put in the increased magazine size by 50%, sorry, which is great for shotguns because shotgun bullets run out quickly. So anything we can do to increase the ammo, the better. We're also going to have shotgun weapon damage increased as well. And we're going to do close range weapon damage increase for every enemy in close range. So that's pretty much for the class points. Again, this is based on what I've found to work best for me. For example, I'm not using Sign of Power, and because that gives me 35% weapon damage bonus after the ending of my damage skill being twisted rounds. So because I'm not trying to end my damage skill at all, this would be no use to me. I'm also not using any deception skills, so I'm not going to use this one. Again, no deception skills are being used. Deception skills being the levitation, the knife, the orb. So those, not having these things kind of frees up some points to be placed other places that are more damage focused. That's mainly it for the build. For everyone who wanted to mainly see just this information, you can go ahead and, copy it, improve on it, leave some comments in the comment section. Let me know if you were able to actually tweak it and make it better. I'm definitely open to improvements because this is a work in progress. Also, I wanted to just touch on one thing. You don't necessarily have to have the death shield running if you really don't like it, because you mainly want the fortress. And for example, I personally love funeral pyre because the rapid fire on this thing is ridiculous. The fire rate, it's just spewing out bullets, and it comes with shadow comet. Shadow comet is the big red comet falling out of the sky, and that does 200,000 plus damage. In my last video, this is what you were seeing falling on everyone's head and blowing them up. So adding fortress to that just increases the damage so much more. It also comes with crit damage boost, close range weapon damage, healing received. So you can definitely switch it around for that. Now, the next part of this video is going to be for you guys who are still very new to the game, not really sure what even goes into setting up a build or how it even works, what you got to look for. Because look at this is all legendary stuff. What if you don't have all these legendary items? You still want to be able to blow backsword even if you only have purples or blues. So what is it that you look for? So I'm going to go ahead and break down this information because it's information I wish I had when I started out thinking about builds. When you're putting together your first build, there are a few key things you have to pay attention to. One of those things is the item stats. Whether it be weapon stats or armor stats, you have to make sure that the stats of the item that you're putting on your build fits your needs. For example, when I shoot someone, when I shoot you, I need you to feel me. I don't want it to be a tender caress across your body. I want you to be reeling in pain. I want you staggered, and I want you dead quick. So I'm going for bonus firepower, close range damage, and cooldown reduction. Stats like these will have a major effect on how well your build performs. It's important to know the difference between each because then you can make informed decisions on what to use. If you're wondering what anomaly is, it's basically the cool space magic you use throughout the game. The other thing you want to pay attention to though is how anomaly versus firepower affect the enemy. So anomaly affects the enemy in a few different ways depending on your class. For example, for Trickster, you not only deal damage but you also have resistance piercing. What resistance piercing does, it reduces an enemy's resistance against anomaly attacks. They also have skill life leech for Tricksters. So every time you hit an enemy with your sword or your spinning move, you gain health from the enemy. Firepower, as the name suggests, is mainly for weapon damage. So the higher firepower, the harder your guns hit. And firepower affects enemies in a different set of ways too. So you can have armor piercing, like for example the Animor, what that does, it makes them a little more squishy. You can also have weapon life leech. Basically every time you get a kill, you gain some health. So weapon damage also comes with close range bonus weapon damage and also just bonus weapon damage. So you can definitely stack a lot of damage for weapon builds, but it all depends on what you're looking for, what you want to do. Another thing you want to kind of pay attention to is your health and your armor. Yeah, it's good to have your anomaly power and your firepower as high as possible, but if every time a broodmother farts you're dying, then it makes no sense. You can't finish the missions. So having a healthy balance between firepower or anomaly power and health and armor is good, and that will come into play with max health. Max health gives you boost in health, and the actual, that's see the points right there where it says 10.5k, that's your armor level. You are most likely going to get multiple drops of the same armor, but it's important to pay close attention to each armor's level because one of them might be better than what you currently have. For example, my Ugake Bukakes were originally at 10,500 armor level, but I was able to get this one here at 11,000, so I dismantled the old one and put all the points and mods onto this one, increasing my armor. This allows me to stay alive more. I don't die as much, or if at all, when I'm using this setup right now. Before, I would be dying left, right, center. Now I'm going to get into the mods. Basically, when you're putting together your build, make sure you're looking at what each mod does and see how it can tailor to what you need. For example, because I'm doing damage upon damage stacks for this build, I'm going to look for anything that gives me additional firepower, anything with additional damage, and anything that stacks damage. So for example, the Kingslayer, if I go over here, where I'm going to go ahead and go for Sharp Eye, staring down the barrel, stuff like that. So anything that gives me damage bonus. If I was going for an anomaly build, I would go for example, Untamed Power. That gives me an anomaly boost for every time I use a skill. There's also support mods like, for example, Moaning Winds. I personally like that one for my anomaly builds because once I go ahead and use up each anomaly skill attack, I can dole out additional punishment with each Moaning Wind, giving me 300,000 to, honestly, it goes up to crazy numbers depending on how you've set up your anomaly build, but I usually get about 500,000 to 1 million per hit every time I reload with my anomaly build. But these are just examples, and I'm using tier 3 as examples because that's what's available to me right now. But let's say you're only at tier 2 mods, same thing. Go ahead and go through each mod and see what they are, what they do, and how can you fit it into a build, or how can you use it to your advantage. You're gonna have to do a lot of trial and error. You're going to have to test them out, probably die, come back, you try again, okay, tweak it, this didn't work last time, let's try it this time. So you're gonna have to do a lot of trial and error when it comes to kind of putting together a build that you are enjoying. And you also want to do this kind of testing for the class points as well, because honestly with the class points you just kind of have to feel around and see what's working out the best for you and what you want. Honestly, I would just avoid the middle tree unless you're trying to just stay alive, but you're not really gonna end up not doing that much damage. You can have all the health in the world, but you won't get gold if you're not killing fast enough. So you have to find that healthy balance. I personally will just stick with anomaly builds or firepower builds. So I hope this video was informative for you, and I hope I was able to break down everything in a way that will equip you with the knowledge necessary to lay the pipe every day of the week. If there was anything that you wanted more clarification on though, definitely put it down in the comment section below, because I have no problems with helping out anyone who is just getting started or they want to improve on what they already have. If you did like the video, make sure to like and subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you can be up to date on all the videos I'm going to be posting in the future. That also helps build a small channel as well. Alright guys, I'll see you in the next one.